listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro, the place to learn about new technology and technological advances before they become mainstream. This podcast is sponsored by RSA. No matter how you pursue digital transformation, RSA can help you manage the risk.
Welcome to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro. I'm your host, Keri Roberts, and my guest today is Murtaza Hafizji, a Senior Manager of Product Marketing at RSA. Welcome back to the show, Murtaza. So excited to have you here again with us today.
Thanks, Keri, for having me back. Excited to be here.
Now, listeners, if you didn't already, you can check back to episode 70 and hear the first part of this discussion about tips for securing your digital workspaces for employees that are working from home. But today we're chatting about the additional challenges and risks associated with accelerating your customers' digital transformation initiatives and the altered approach to remote workers. So what are some of these risks and challenges, and how can an organization help their customers both from an identity and an access management perspective?
Great question, Keri. So, a few months ago, it was unthinkable, right, that the widespread shift of work from home arrangements would still be in place by the summer and probably for the remainder of this year and maybe next year. But here we are. And, work looks very different now than it did when 2020 began. But, one thing that is unlikely to change is the remote workforce. According to a recent survey, 41% of employees are likely to work remotely at least some of the time post-pandemic. And a separate survey found that 74% of companies plan to shift at least 5% of their previously on-site workforce to a permanently remote workforce position. So, remote support and security continue to be critical now and will be in the future as more employees transition from a temporary to a permanent off-site arrangement. And the dynamic distributed workforce is not a passing phase. It is, I believe, here to stay. It is here to stay. There are really two parts of the identity challenge that organizations face, and both are addressed by the RSA SecurID suite, which fundamentally answers two main questions. First one is the user who they claim to be. And this is identity assurance, providing the right assurance levels of who the user is and invoking the necessary step-up methods needed to provide secure and convenient access to applications. This could be multi-factor authentication or conditional access and more. Then there is who has access to what. And this is access assurance. And it is around understanding and having visibility as to who's who in the organization and what access do they have. Should they have access? Does that access violate corporate policies? And just as critical, how do organizations scale and ensure that business users understand the context, that is the risk, and make appropriately informed and timely business decisions confidently, while at the same time ensuring that users have the right access levels to the right applications at the right time.
And now RSA Secure ID Access has some new features since last we spoke that can help organizations succeed in today's changing environment. One of them is the ability to broaden protection while ensuring user productivity for all the users and applications with a focus on Microsoft Windows and Mac OS machines. Before you chat about how it does that, for those that aren't familiar with RSA Secure ID Access, can you also tell us what it is in simplest terms?
Sure, absolutely. And we get that question a lot about RSA SecurID Access. And RSA SecurID Access enables businesses to empower employees, partners, and contractors to do more without compromising security or convenience. It delivers timely access to applications from any device, anywhere, and ensures that users are who they say they are, with a modern, convenient experience and a variety of modern authentication options, such as push to approve, fast identity online or FIDO, biometrics, and other methods to support a modern and dynamically changing workforce. Considering the business context of the application and cumulative access risk, RSA SecurID Access provides identity assurance with a flexible business policies that drive trust elevation when required, aligned to the organization's trust levels. Now, As businesses shift the operations from office to home, remote working does come with its risks. One of them is the unprotected endpoints through which the workforce accesses the corporate network, and those become very easy targets. These machines, laptops or desktops, contain the organization sensitive data. Protecting these endpoints, or they could be corporate owned or they could not be, with strong multi-factor authentication is no longer a choice, but it is a necessity. Recently, RSA SecurID Access announced the capability or providing multi-factor authentication for Microsoft Windows and Mac OS devices, and extend powerful MFA or multi-factor authentication to enhance endpoint protection and remote logins, which are critical for the modern workforce. Furthermore, RSA is the only vendor to offer true no-fail open offline authentication for both Microsoft Windows as well as Mac OS laptops, where users are not connected to a network, right? So when a user is connected, if there is internet and you log in, that's pretty seamless, super easy. But what happens when the machine is not connected to the internet, or you're in a area where you don't have internet connectivity? RSA SecurID Access, with its integration of Mac OS and Microsoft Windows, provides true secure access into those machines as well, improving security, user experience, and productivity.
And another thing you're able to do is you can move to the cloud much more efficiently, even with legacy applications and infrastructure. What is the process in doing this in an easy way?
Sure. So, for customers who are already, are on-prem and are looking to move to the cloud and embrace some of the cloud technologies, RSA SecurID Access has a great solution for them as well. We've been known in the industry for our on-prem solution and how reliable, how scalable it is, but we're bringing that same approach to our cloud authentication service of RSA SecurID Access, where customers at their own pace can transition from an on-prem deployment to the cloud deployment. Either we can they can leverage the RSA hosting services, or they can completely move their infrastructure either to AWS or Azure and manage from there as well.
Now, RSA does a lot of work with medium to large businesses, and I know these are some new updates that you've done. So if you can share with us any use cases, or if not, what are some ways that this would be really great for a business?
Yeah, so RSA has been honored to be a trusted partner during the global work from home surge, if you will, and helping our customers to rapidly provide a secure remote workforce for their employees. We continue to innovate to help them optimize in the new world with features like Mac OS and high availability for the cloud. We have customers, and again, many customers that we've talked to are looking to embrace the cloud, but they are concerned about the availability of the cloud. With RSA SecurID Access, again, customers are able to continue leverage what they have, which is their on-prem infrastructure, and connect to the cloud at their own pace. And one of the really differentiating factors that we have for our customers, and which is our customers are concerned about, is what happens if they move to the cloud and the cloud is unreachable, slow, or it goes down. And what happens to productivity? What happens to authentication? And with our recent releases of RSA SecurID Access, we now provide a hybrid approach to cloud. So if the cloud does go down, for example, the on-prem component of RSA SecurID Access can pick up authentication, and from an end user perspective, it's seamless. They will not even know the difference. So even as organizations, and more and more organizations, small, medium to large, are looking at cloud technologies, especially in these times from a total cost of ownership perspective, from a easy to manage perspective, and providing access to their users from anywhere and from any device. So cloud technologies are absolutely something that will continue to accelerate from an adoption perspective for organizations. And we're making it easy for our customers to leverage their current infrastructure and connect to the cloud and transition to the cloud at their own pace.
Now, we ask the question on our show all the time, where do you see technology going in the next year? But since you answered it last time, based on kind of what you said in the beginning of this interview, I'm curious if you see more of a shift to fully remote workforces for the next few years. And if so, what type of technology will be crucial to this shift?
Yeah, so I don't know if the remote workforce will last for forever, but I do think that it is definitely something that will be there for a long time. And maybe for some, I think it will be forever, but I think more and more organizations have realized in the past few months that working from home or providing remote capabilities to the employees has not changed productivity, has not made productivity go down, but actually made it better, because now employees have a easier way to manage their work-life balance and are more happy as well. So I think that will continue to stay. And what that creates the challenge for the organization is, I believe, two areas that will continue to be on the forefront of discussion. One is identity, right? Again, making sure who the user is and what kind of access requirements do they have and what can they do with that access. So proving who you say you are, and once you do, what you can do, if you will, once you're in the door, what can you do with that access will continue to be important. I think the second piece is the endpoint security piece, right? So as more and more people work from home and organizations either give out corporate-based devices or allow users to use their personal devices, which all of us already do, how do you manage those? And from a security perspective, that becomes a difficult task, right? Because now the threat landscape just got exponentially bigger with a lot of personal devices being used to access corporate resources. So I think identity and access management will continue to be on the forefront, as well as endpoint security for all these devices being used to connect to the corporate network will be the second one that I believe will be here for some time.
Yeah, there's a lot of information here. We've heard on this show a lot. The biggest issue is the security risk, how it's broadened, exactly what you're talking about, and what RSA does helps with it. If people want to learn more about what we talked about, or they want to connect with you, where is the best place to do that?
Absolutely. So RSA.com is a great place to learn about the different risk areas that we're addressing, the challenges that we're helping our customers with. It's information about our products as well. RSA Link is a customer-facing portal where our existing customers can log in and get information, but net new folks who are thinking about RSA can visit RSA Link to get information as well. And they can certainly follow me on LinkedIn or Twitter at Murtaza Hafizji 1 and get the latest updates on RSA Secure ID Access.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us once again. And I'm sure we look forward to having you on again soon. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Keri. Appreciate it.
If you like this episode or have a question, join the discussion on Twitter at Ingram TechSol with the hashtag B2B Tech Talk. Thank you for tuning in and subscribing to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro.
You've been listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro, hosted by Keri Roberts. This episode was sponsored by RSA. B2B Tech Talk is a joint production with Sweetfish Media and Ingram Micro. Ingram Micro production handled by Laura Burton and Christine Fan. To not miss an episode, subscribe today to your favorite podcast platform.